sliding the magic ruler until the distance is the same. So that's on 2, that's on 2 1/4. Oh, that's pretty good. So it's a little bit past 2 1/4, or a little bit before, I should say. It's a little bit before 2 1/4. Okay, so you see how that's the same distance? Then we hold the ruler in place and we slide the image flush to the ruler and flush to the bottom. Nobody's making illustrations or anything? And then you see, where does the image land on the large scale? 4, 1, 2, 3. 3 lines before the 4. So then you slide it up to that same spot on the little scale, and there's your placement magic. Side borders are the same, but if you notice, the top actually has a little bit less than the bottom. So whether you do this the old-fashioned way with a ruler and you measure the inches yourself, you always want a little bit more on the bottom so that it creates a foundation, so that the image doesn't look like it's actually going to fall off the mat. So you don't want it in the middle of the mat. You want it actually a little bit more towards the top. Okay, so let me do it again. Adhere the tissue in the center. Trim the borders. Decide, is it going to be horizontal or vertical? Place it in the top right-hand corner. Flush. Magic ruler on the top. You want to get from the 0 to the edge of the print and the 0 to the edge of the mat the same distance. So you keep sliding the ruler until you get there. Hold it in place, image flush up against the ruler and flush to the bottom. Then you see, where does it land on the big scale, the top of the print. 3 lines above the 4, then you slide it up to that same spot, flush up against the ruler on the little scale. Really good? Now this needs to be done near the tacking iron, because we now need to tack it in place before we put it into the hot press. Okay? So I'm just going to take it over here. So this is where you actually should be doing the measuring, over near your tacking iron. So let me do it again. Flush, slide it to the bottom. Where does the top land on the large scale? Slide it up to the same place on the small scale. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hold the print in place and lift up the print and leave the tissue. That's why we just tack the tissue in the center, so that we can actually lift up the print. And we're going to take the tacking iron and we're just going to tack down the 2 corners. Okay? You don't want to bring this across the whole tissue because you'll smudge waxy tissue onto your mat and then you can't get that big smudge off. Okay? So we've now just adhered the tissue to the board. Okay. Now you can look at it and see if it's straight. If for some reason you moved it, it's not straight, you can very gently peel it off, reposition it, re-tack it down. Okay. Once it's looking good, you got to turn your press on. And again, it's going to take about 20 minutes for this to heat up. So turn it on as soon as you get here, not like I just did. But I'm really not going to put that in there. And then we have what's called release paper. And see this big goober? That's because somebody got their dry mount tissue on there. They didn't do it correctly. So you really want to make sure this is clean. Because now if I put a nice picture there, I could get that stuff on my image. That side's not too good either. So one, you can ask Ken for another piece of release paper, or when you put it in and it goes image side up, make sure where you put it is really clean. And then you're going to close it for about 30 seconds, 45 seconds to a minute. and then you're gonna check it and make sure it sticks. The temperature should get up to 150, not 200, not 300, because you'll burn your prints. But it's set here at a little bit at 200, but it should be up between 150 and 200. Okay? So you take it out, it's nice and it's adhered, you're done. If it's curling and it's coming off, you got to put it back in for some more time. Okay? Are we good with the mounting? Okay, so this isn't until your final project, but you'll need to mount